Hello everybody, I'm Dallin and welcome to X Years is S, the place where we talk all about Legos, Nerf guns, video games, and more. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing set 75314, the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, otherwise known as the Havoc Marauder. And honestly, I'm super excited to show you guys this set. It definitely has to be one of the most highly anticipated sets of 2021, at least for me, and I'm sure it also is for a lot of the other Bad Batch fans as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look. Now before we begin the video, I just want to welcome anybody who may be new here to the channel. Welcome to X Years is S. I am so very glad to have you guys here. If you'd like to, please consider subscribing to the channel just by hitting that red subscribe button down below. And if you end up enjoying today's video, I'd also ask you to please consider hitting that thumbs up button down there as well. Anyways, let's get on with the review. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to go ahead and cover the box art as well as the set details. By the way, if you want to skip to a specific section of the video, please feel free to check down in the description. I will have different sections and stuff outlined out so you can skip to different parts of the video, and I will also put that down in a pinned comment down in the comment section. Okay, the box art, whew. It looks absolutely fantastic. I don't know why I'm so excited about a box, you know? But anyways, I love how this box art looks. We still have like the normal Lego Star Wars logo over here in the corner, but instead of Darth Vader, we have a couple of members of the Bad Batch, which is super duper cool. Hopefully you can see that right there. I love how that looks. Like I said, I don't know why I'm so excited over a box. But anyways, we can also see here just on the set, the side of the box, excuse me, that this is set 75314, the Bad Batch Attack Shuttle, and it comes with 969 pieces. Now, just taking a look at the front of the box here, we can also see that we get the Havoc Marauder, an Imperial Bark Speeder, and some kind of civilian speeder. It's an interesting design, but it doesn't really have any weapons on it, so I guess, you know, it is just a civilian speeder. Anyways, just down here in the corner, we can also see the minifigures that we get. So we got Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, Crosshair, and a Gonk Droid. Now it is worth noting that this version of Crosshair is the Imperial version. It's not the normal Bad Batch version that we get. Now I would love to see more Bad Batch sets in the future where we could potentially get a regular Crosshair figure with the rangefinder, I don't know what it's called, and an Omega figure as well. That would be super duper cool. Anyways, just flipping the box to the back, we can see pretty much all of the set features. The wings kind of fold down and they can kind of fold up in this closed position right here. We also got spring-loaded missiles, and the cockpit kind of opens up like it's just an entire midsection. I'll go ahead and show you guys here just in a little bit. We also get like a little weapon storage thing, which is kind of fun. And then we can also see the Bark Speeder has a couple of stud shooters as well, and they're kind of just like in this battle. But yeah, I went ahead and got this set for $100 US just by pre-ordering it on lego.com. So if you're wanting to pick one up for yourself, it is $100 US, so yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the minifigures, starting off with Hunter. Hunter's minifigure looks pretty good. It uses just a standard Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet mold, and honestly, I think the design looks pretty good on him. He has a pretty generic, just printing, I guess, but it isn't bad looking, honestly. I think there is a bit of satisfaction with the simplicity in his design. We can also see that he does have kind of like a back printing with the backpack that he has in the show. And then we can take off his helmet and see that he does have double-sided face printing with a bandana. I like that they included like the little skull on that as well. So he has kind of like a more relaxed face and more of an angry face, and he does come with a hairpiece. It's like the Moro hairpiece from Lego Ninjago. But anyways, my only gripe about this character is that the hairpiece, you know, would it be too much to ask that we got a custom molded hairpiece? Like, it looks kind of awkward with the bandana because the bandana normally goes around the hair. But I guess it doesn't really matter as much since this is a pretty nice looking minifigure just with the helmet on. Wrecker is our next member of the Bad Batch, and honestly I do like how they designed his version of the minifigure. They kind of use like this shoulder pauldron piece on him to kind of give him a more heightened and bigger look, which makes sense since he is the bigger member of the Bad Batch. And he basically has the same torso and leg printing as Hunter. And his helmet is interesting, I do have to say. It basically is the same helmet mold as the Iron Man that we've had in the past. And you can take it off and see here that he only has one side of his face, just because he is basically bald in the show. I do like the scarring on him and the white eye. I think it looks pretty dang good. Next up we have Tech, which is probably one of the most highly anticipated figures of this set, mostly because of the helmet. And while the helmet does look pretty oversized, I think that they do capture a fair amount of detail in it to where it doesn't really bother me as much. I do like how the helmet looks. They have like the little antennas on it, and sadly I wish that this kind of visor would flip down, but it doesn't do that since it is pretty solid. You can take off his helmet and you can see that he has two faces, one with a more questioned look and he doesn't have his glasses on, and the other one where he has his glasses on and he's more apprehensive, I guess. He also has pretty nice printing, and he does come with like a little backpack on him, which is pretty cool. Next up we have my personal favorite member of the Bad Batch, Echo. I love how this minifigure looks, especially with the arm printing there on the side. Of course, one bit of controversy that there is with this minifigure is the fact that he just has a regular minifigure hand instead of some sort of special mold for his little, I guess, R2-D2 like plug-in thing. But that doesn't really bother me as much, I guess. But what does bother me is the fact that he doesn't have his regular ARC Trooper skirt here. It's just kind of printed on and it looks really awkward, especially since there's no like side leg printing or anything. But you know, that's okay, I guess. I think it'd be nice just to find one online or something. Anyways, the helmet is a bit interesting, I would have to say. I mean, the front looks pretty good. It also just uses that standard Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet mold, and just on the back there's nothing, which is kind of disappointing in my opinion, especially since Echo's helmet is special since it kind of fits around his cybernetics that I will show you once I take the helmet off. It's kind of supposed to fit this oval looking part right here. I think it'd be really cool if they had like a special mold for him, but that's alright. But I do like the detail on this minifigure's head. He has kind of a more disgruntled face, and I do like the implants in his head as well. Anyways, a pretty solid figure for the most part. Then we have Crosshair in his Imperial suit, and honestly I think it's a pretty good suit. It is a bit simplistic, but it looks clean. I like it. It's a good look for him. We can see just here on the back that he does have the backpack and kind of like a belt here on the bottom, which I think is pretty cool. No arm printing or anything, but the torso and leg printing is pretty solid. Now, my favorite part about this figure is the helmet. I love the green visor on it, but I do think that one very underrated part of the helmet are these two little green circles that you can see here on the bottom of it. They're kind of outlined in a silver, and honestly it looks really, really good. I just love the look of it. So once we take the helmet off, we can see Crosshair's face. I do like the face printing. It would have been kind of nice to get kind of just like a hairpiece and maybe an extra face for his minifigure, but you know, most of the time he has his helmet on, especially since he is Imperial at this point. But I do like his more angry look. But yeah, I definitely do have to say the helmet is my favorite part of this figure. And last but not least, we have Gonki, which is by far the best minifigure in this entire set. In all honesty though, I do like the design of him. Since Gonk droids are a little bit more simplistic and they're basically just walking bricks, I actually kind of like how this one looks. I do like how they kind of capture the feet using these hinge plates here, and it kind of just adding these pieces on the side gives it a little bit more personality as well. Although I'm pretty sure it is discolored in comparison to the show, but that's alright. I forgot to mention that Tech does come with a hairpiece. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the speeders before we take a look at the Havoc Marauder. The speeders themselves are kind of interesting, especially the civilian one. I'm not entirely sure if these are weapons here on the side, but nevertheless, it's an interesting design for a little speeder. Definitely a little bit different from what we have seen in the past, but you know, it's a fun little build, I guess, but not much to say about it. Now, I do agree with most of the LEGO community that does say that these speeders would have definitely been better off just in their own set. So, yeah. Anyways, we also have the Imperial Bark Speeder. And basically, I have the same gripe with this Bark Speeder as the one that came with the 501st one. So, I went ahead and modified the 501st one. If you want to modify your 501st Speeder or your Imperial Bark Speeder that comes with this set, I will put a link down in the description to the video where I modify this speeder. But yeah, I'm probably just going to end up doing the same thing to this one, even though it's just slightly different design. But yeah, basically my only gripe with this is kind of the stud shooters. They're just a little bit awkward here, but it does add a little bit of playability. And then it's also just like a little bit too long up here in the front. I think it's a little bit oversized. But other than that, not much to say about the speeders. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the Havoc Marauder itself. Now let's go ahead and just address the elephant in the room. Probably the most controversial part of the set by far, which is the color scheme of the ship. Now, don't kill me for my opinion here, but I actually really like the sand blue. Like, I thought it would bug me originally when I first saw this set get leaked around April or so. I was like, oh boy. But I figured, you know, I'd go ahead and get the set anyways since it was the Bad Batch, and I love the Bad Batch. But yeah, it isn't necessarily accurate to the show, which is a bit of a problem for most people. But the reason I actually really like the sand blue is I realized that a lot of the ships in Star Wars are basically just black and gray, and just gray and darker gray and stuff. But then we have some ships like the Slave One where it's just like green and red, and it's a little more memorable of a ship. And you know, I know it's not necessarily accurate to the show by any means, but I do like this just for the sake of displaying it, just because as a collector I think it will definitely catch the eye a little bit more once I actually put it on display. So it's a pretty cool ship to have, honestly. And the color scheme really doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would. Now, let's go ahead and cover the functions on the front of the ship. Both of the wings can open up and kind of click like that. It uses the same mechanism for, you know, these locking joints as most of the AT walkers. And the wings, you know, they work pretty good. My only gripe about them is that they can fold all the way like that, and it looks really, really weird. So I think in a future modification guide, I'm going to go ahead and try and fix that. Now, anyways, up here in the front, we have two laser cannons right here, and we have some lights. And then I don't really like this either. The cockpit can open up, but it can only go so far because of this center wing right here. So, you know, I'd rather just keep it all solid, and, you know, you can just open it all together like that. Now, the center wing, I thought it would bother me a whole lot more originally, like before I built the set. And, you know, initially I was just like, you know what, this is going to be something I'm definitely going to try and fix in a modification. But it doesn't really bother me as much as I thought it would, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, something that I do like to note here on the set is just how aesthetically pleasing, like, just the balance between tiles and studs is. Like, the wings are all studs, and you know, they have a little bit of tile and stuff in them and stuff. And then I just love this transition right here. Like, it just looks really, really smooth, and it looks good. I really like it. So kudos to the designers who made this, because it looks pretty dang good. Now, here on the bottom, we have two spring-loaded missile shooters, which is pretty cool. We don't have landing gear, which I know is a pretty big problem for most of the people who will be building this set. But as of now, it doesn't really bother me as much. But I'll probably end up fixing that in a modification here pretty soon as well. In the back here, we kind of have like these little brakes, I guess, for these for these engines here in the back. which is kind of a cool play feature, I guess. It just adds a little bit more detail as well. And then also here in the back, we have a very, very tiny gunner's thing. I'm not entirely sure whether this is a brake light or if this is the window for the gunner's for the gunner's side of the ship. But yeah. Now, one thing I do want to note here that is also a bit of a problem is that sometimes these side tiles will just like to pop off. This one not so much, but this one definitely likes to just come off like that. So I'm definitely going to try and fix that as well, because that bugs the heck out of me, especially when I'm playing with it and it just like flies off. Now for the interior, I'm just going to go ahead and try and fold this wing up here. To get to the interior, you basically unfold this entire thing right here. And you can see that it's not very spacious at all. You can fit like 2 people in here. And I guess another thing that kind of bugs me is that they used these weird yellow pieces right here. Just like, why? Like, what was the point of that? And then you can fit 2 minifigures in here very, very snugly. That's something that also kind of bugs me, is just the lack of space and stuff in here. It can definitely be improved upon. And then right here, you can open this little hatch. I'll try and spin this around for you guys. You can open this little hatch right here to get almost to like a weapon storage. But the problem is you can't really store a whole lot in there. Like maybe you can put in a couple of thermal detonators and maybe like a blaster or 2 in there. But other than that, it just takes up space. So I definitely am going to try and, just gut this out and make it look a whole lot better. Now, something I do have to give them credit for are these stickers. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing right here, but they look pretty cool. I like how, I think this is a Wolfpack trooper right here. I like how that looks right there. Like, it's almost like just a news feed, I guess. And then on the other side, when I flip it around, you can also see a Republic Venator right there battling a separatist ship, which is pretty cool. I actually really like that. Now, I think for anybody who has who has this set themselves, definitely has to agree with me. The biggest issue with the ship, other than maybe the color scheme for some people, is the fact that this opens up way too easy. So, logically, I think most people will try to fly the ship around by picking it up right here. But oh no, it just opens up like that. Like there's just no secure foothold for that, and it just opens up. So fly it around like this, I guess, but I definitely don't want to do that. And honestly, it's also a problem too when you're just flying it upside down. Like the weight of it just pops it open. And that's also a big problem for a lot of people as well. But anyways, overall, I think it's a pretty solid build. I really do look forward to modifying this, especially since there is a lot of potential, especially with so much space in here. And there's that panel right there. Gee whiz. But there is a lot of wasted space in this. I think there could have been a better use of space inside of the model itself. But it definitely opens things up to bigger modifications and stuff. And, a couple of little quirks like this can definitely be fixed. So I definitely do look forward to modifying this in a future video for you guys. All right, my final thoughts on this set. Just as like a regular standalone set, it's fine. It's okay. It could be better. It could be improved on, but that's about it. 7 out of 10 for that. But then for people like me, or maybe even you, who regularly plays with Legos and likes to display them and just and likes to modify them as well, it's a great set, honestly. Just thinking about the fact that we even got a Bad Batch ship is insane to me. Like, I don't know. Recently, I feel like Legos kind of stepped away from prequels and stuff, and they've just been they've just been throwing out Luke's land speeders like 24/7, like every single year, and it's just kind of become disappointing at this point. But I really love this set just for the fact that it is its own standalone Bad Batch set. It's right now, the way Lego's looking is we don't even know if we're going to get another Bad Batch set, which would be really unfortunate considering that there could be so much pulled from it. And honestly, I also think this set has pretty fair value as well. 969 pieces for 100 US dollars, excuse me, is pretty fair for the most part. I mean, we get the ship itself, we get 2 speeders, and we get 6 minifigures, which is pretty solid for $100. And honestly, if I got this as a gift, I would actually be really happy because it's actually a really fun set. You know, despite its minor quirks and stuff, it has plenty of playability to make up for it. And if you're debating on whether or not you want to buy this for yourself, if you're planning on modifying it just like I am, I feel like I say that a lot in my reviews. Anyways, if you're planning on modifying it just like I am, or even if you're planning on, you know, just throwing it up in display or something like that, 100%. I really like this set, even though it does have its minor things. But yeah, anyways guys, that is my review for today. Thank you all so much for joining me here, and I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm sorry that it was a little bit longer than usual, but I wanted to try and pack in as much information as I possibly could. That way you can determine whether or not you want to get this for yourself. Anyways guys, if you did enjoy today's video, please consider leaving a like on this video, and if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate it if you considered subscribing to the channel. Anyways guys, take care, and I will see you guys next time.